always, every time I leave my water on some other part of this house. It's fine, whatever. Last month, I read 17 books, and that was fantastic. It was a good time. I enjoyed the majority of those books. I even had a 5-star, I think, I know I had at least one 5-star. I think I may have had more though. But anyways, that is beside the point. I put myself in a reading slump. And here we are. And so I figure, what better way to help other people get out of a reading slump than to film myself getting out of a reading slump. So this is how to get out of a reading slump. The first thing that I normally do to get out of a reading slump is I accept it. Like, I just accept. We're in a reading slump. Things are not that interesting right now. I'm not even like picking up books at this point. Like, I just kind of do nothing. I sit there and contemplate life. But I do want to get back into reading because 1, I do YouTube. 2, I enjoy reading. It's a fun hobby for me and I like it, so I want to go back to doing it. I think that reading slumps are pretty natural. They happen to everybody. If you haven't been into a slump yet, just know that it's a yet. Yeah, so we're here today. We're gonna get out of the reading slump. So step 1, have grace. Admit that you're in a slump. It's totally fine that books are not super appealing right now. Maybe other things are happening in your life. Maybe you're just really busy. Who knows? Maybe you just found a new hobby, and that's okay too. Like, that's totally fine, guys. That's okay. The second thing that I would do is, a lot of people like to go back into the book world and just like watch reading vlogs and stuff like that. I'm not really that person. I will sometimes watch reading vlogs, but if I'm not interested in reading, I don't really want to watch other people reading either. So I would suggest doing something completely different from reading. And that is what I did this weekend. I didn't even think about books this weekend, so I just did whatever I wanted. But now it's Monday, and you know what they say, Monday, read day. I'm pretty sure they all say that. And I want to read. The next thing I'm gonna do is I am going to attempt to read, but I'm gonna try 2 different things. One is I'm gonna see if like an audiobook would help me. But the other thing is that I would like to start reading like a small book and see what happens with that. So we're gonna see what happens. I tend to do fine with audiobooks when I'm in slumps. I tend to use audiobooks almost as a crutch, I would say, because I'm still getting that nutrients of the book. It's just it's a different media to take it in. This is an awkward beginning. Anyways, I have this book on audiobook, and this is the last book that I have so far in the Finley Donovan series. The newest book is coming out soon, if it's not out already. I don't remember when it's coming out. I know it's coming out very shortly though, but this is the latest one before that one. And it's not long, and it's on audiobook. So I think I'm gonna try this one on audiobook, and I might read along with the audiobook so that I can get that all in there, soaked right into it. And then the other thing that I was thinking of reading is XOXO, because this is a short, also short, little romance, and it's like a K-pop type of thing. Let's find out how many pages are in here. 337 pages. It's not that long. So I think this might be a good book to try because it's quick and to the point. And both of them are on my March TBR, so I could get 2 birds, 1 stone, out of the slump, read some books. It all works out. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're gonna start off with the audiobook. I think we're gonna listen to the audiobook and like do some stuff for like work and stuff like that, and like maybe house chores or something like that, because my house is kind of a disaster right now. And so we'll do that for the audiobook, and then when I have time to like sit down and relax, then we'll switch to the book. And we'll see if this helps. getting me out of the slump. This is kind of the trick that I use for the most part, because this tends to be like, once I'm reading, I'm kind of fine. So, but it's getting me to that point to read. So this will hopefully get me to the point to read, and then this will hopefully get me out of the slump, you know? Another thing is, don't pick boring books. This is a book I already know I like the series. I already know I like the series, I like the author, I like the writing, I like the characters, all of that stuff. So this should help. And then this one is kind of a risk, but once again, short, YA, fantasy, all things that I already like, cheesy, you know what I mean? So I have high hopes. I have high hopes. I'm gonna try this. I might even try a third book if, you know, feeling wild here. But we'll see how that does for this week, and let's just see if at the end of the week I can get out of the slump. If I don't, I mean, then I don't, but hopefully I do. Finished this book, and Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun, and this was so funny. This was hilarious. I love this series so much. This is the third book in the series. The first one is Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun, I think. And then the second one is Finley Donovan Knocks Him Dead, and then, oh, I'm sorry, this is Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun. The first one is Finley Donovan, I don't know, it's a pink cover. I'll insert it. It's like Finley Donovan something. It's Finley Donovan is Killing It. It's literally on the back. So the first one is Finley Donovan is Killing It, and then the next one is Finley Donovan Knocks Him Dead, and then the third one is Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun. There we go. That is the correct order. So this is the third one. The fourth one just came out, and I pre-ordered it last year because I'm on a book buying ban. If you guys don't know, I'm on a book buying ban. It's for the entire year. So the only books that I am getting are books that I have purchased via a gift card that I was given, or if I have pre-ordered them the year before, so the year prior, and book club picks don't count, and subscriptions don't count. So those are the only ways that I can get a book. I've already pre-ordered the 4th Finlay Donovan book. I'm so excited to get it because I'm really excited to find out what happens next. That book, I think, I looked at my Barnes & Noble app and it said it was gonna be here today, but it's not. It's not even in my state. So I think it'll probably be here, if not Thursday, then Friday at the latest. But yeah, I looked at my app this morning and I was like, how are you gonna be here today? You're not even close to my state. So how are you gonna be here today? I don't get it. But anyways, I digress. This book was hilarious. The whole series is so funny. It is about, this book in particular is about Finlay, who you learn to love. She is an author, she's a thriller author, and she and her assistant, Vera, who was originally her babysitter, but now she's like her assistant. They are accidental hitmen, and they have not killed anyone. They have not done anything to anybody. They have not hurt anyone, okay? They've not done anything. But people think that they have, and it's just a very comical story. It's very outrageous. You are super confused as to like why anything would happen in this way, but because it's almost playing off of that, it makes it even funnier. So yeah, this was just such a hoot to read, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I think it's wonderful. I think it's just such a great, fantastic read. It's like a thriller comedy, and I don't think that that's a real thing, but that's what it reads like. It's like a thrill com, you know? That's what it is. There you have it. So this was great. I loved it. I'm glad that I jumped into it. I am still reading this. So the Finlay Donovan one was my audiobook that I was listening to, and I have been slowly reading this. However, again, I'm in a reading slump, so I'm not necessarily wanting to sit down and read at this moment. It's more of just like, that's not what I'm in the mood for. That's not the season of time that I'm in right now, which is fine. I'm just trying to get back into that season because I like that season and I want to be in that season. And so I am slowly getting through this. I am not that far. I am 35 pages in. I'm 35 pages in. It's a very cute story so far. It's about this cellist and this K-pop star, and they have like a really cute meet cute where in the beginning part, like she's at her uncle's karaoke bar and he's like, hey, somebody isn't leaving their room but their time's run out. So she goes to kick him out and he's like kind of being sassy with her. So she originally is like, are you running from a gang? And he starts laughing at her and she was like, oh my god, okay, fine. So then she challenges him to a karaoke battle and he loses. And so then they get on this bus and they don't mean to get on together. They just happen to be on the same bus at the same time. And so she sees him and she's like, it's you. And so far it's pretty adorable. You can tell in the beginning. I mean, I know he's a K-pop star because of the back, but she doesn't know it at this point. But it's very funny because there's a moment where somebody is staring at them. They're at this like Korean festival and somebody's staring at them and they're like, do I know you? And he gets like very still, like, I've been recognized. But she is the one that they're talking to and they're like, didn't you play cello and didn't you, like, weren't you the champion? Oh my gosh, you're so amazing, and da 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 da. And he's just like very humbled, very humbled. So all in all, I think this story is a very cute story and I really want to continue it. The more like I even talk about it, like even just talking about it right now, I'm like, oh, I really want to like read this. So that's good. That's good. Maybe that will help me get out of a slump, is just reading like a little bit and like talking about what I really like about it. And maybe that'll get me back and excited. So if you are in a slump, try that out and see if that works for you too. Let's do a little science experiment, okay? Everybody who's in a slump, read the first 35 pages of a book and then tell someone, tell me, tell your friends, I don't know, but tell somebody how much you love the first 30 pages, like what you love about it, all of that stuff. and see if that makes you want to continue reading. That would be a really good experiment. And see if that'll help you get back into the mood of reading. Again, it's only been like I read this yesterday, okay? This is a very quick audiobook. I finished it. I started this not that long ago. And now on audiobook, because I do still have a lot of chores that I have to do around the house, and I've been kind of slow to do them as well. So this is the book that I'm listening to on audio right now, and it's called The Siren. It's by Kiera Cass. It's a very short audiobook. It's supposed to be 7 hours long, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that, like, you see, it's like big words. So the text is large in this book. It doesn't, and it's very, like, it's a lot of dialogue. It's very simple. It is a YA book, and it's got kind of like Little Mermaid vibes. So if you like The Little Mermaid, this is 327 pages. If you like The Little Mermaid, I think you would really like this, because she is a siren and she has to like live in the ocean. The ocean kind of tells her like who she has to sing to their demise. And when she's out in public though, like when she's out in the real world and not underwater, she's not allowed to talk, so she has to sign. And she meets this boy and they have like a thing, and it's very cute. And I really like this, but it's a short audiobook. I listen to my audiobooks at 2x speed, so this is about 3.5 hours long. I've already listened, I think, to an hour's worth of it. I have 2 hours and 37 minutes left. So, yeah. So I will definitely finish this today. I'm hoping that I finish this and this today. Like, I'm hoping that that's what we do today, is that we finish both of these books, because that would make me feel very, very accomplished. But I really do want to sit down and like read. That, at least that's the goal. The goal is to sit down and read. So we're gonna go do that. And well, we're not gonna sit down and read it right now. Right now, I'm gonna make myself lunch. And in doing that, I am going to listen to my audiobook. I don't know why I make stupid. finished 4 books this week and I'm in a reading slump. So let me explain what happened. First of all, this book, XOXO, I started this on Monday. It took me 5 days to read it. It was the only book that I read physically. These 3 books I did over audiobook. And honestly, I feel like the reason why I was able to finish this book is because I did these books through audiobook. Does that make sense? So let me explain. First of all, being in a reading slump, it's not that I don't want to be in a fictional world, it's that I don't want to read. Like, I just don't want to pick something up and dedicate time. Like, I feel like I read slow. I feel like I'm reading the same sentence over and over again. Like, it's just one of those things where I'm just like, this isn't making sense to me, which is why it took me so long to read this book. And it's 330 pages, give or take. It just took me so long to get through because reading words physically was just difficult for me. And that's typically what happens when I'm in a reading slump. It's just hard for me to sit still and read and understand and comprehend and all that stuff. So it's a little bit easier for me, at least, to start off with some audiobooks. And I did do that. I read these 3 as audiobooks, and that honestly really helped me a lot. I got a lot of cleaning done. I just got a lot of stuff done in general. And it also made me remember why I love reading so much. I just love being in worlds, and I love meeting new characters and seeing what they're about and their plot points and their struggles and them overcoming things and learning things about themselves. I just really love being in those places with them. And then another thing that really helps me is talking to other people about the books that I'm reading. And so I have left several voice notes to my friends explaining the books that I'm reading, what I love about them, all of that stuff. So that helped me get back into reading, and hopefully it helps you too. But let's talk about the books that I did read. So first things first, I did talk about this briefly earlier. I listened to the audiobook for Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun. Again, I love this series. This is such a funny series to me. It is about a writer, Finley Donovan. She writes thriller books with a little bit of romance in there. And she's an accidental hit woman, and she doesn't mean to, and she hasn't technically did anyone in, however, people do think that she has. And in this book, she's trying to find somebody who is blackmailing a well-known criminal. And basically he's saying, you need to expose this person before I expose you. And so she is on the clock trying to figure it out, but she's also at a police academy for some training. Just like fun training, and she also has a small romance with the police officer. There is a 4th book coming out. It actually is in the mail right now, coming to me. It was supposed to be here today. However, I live on a dirt road and it's mud season in Maine, and so no one on my street has been able to leave and we're kind of trapped here because nobody can get through and the roads are just mush. So the town is going to take care of that, but in the meantime, we haven't had any mail, which is fine. I have many other books that I could be reading, but I am very excited to read the 4th installment of Finley Donovan. After this, I did read The Siren by Kiera Cass. She is the same person who wrote The Selection. This book was fantastic. I listened to it on audiobook again, and the person who was giving the audiobook, the person narrating, did such a fantastic job. I feel like she really did all of the characters such great justice, especially the ocean. Like, the voice that she used for the ocean was just so nurturing, so caring, and it just was such a great narration of just like this motherly figure, whereas The Siren is about this girl, well, I guess like a group of girls, a small group of girls, and they are sirens. And in doing that, they have to sing in order to feed the ocean. But when they sing to feed the ocean, these people's lives, they are saving thousands others. So it's like one life for 1,000 to live. And please don't ask me to explain that, because I'm still a little like confused on that as well, but that's fine. We just went along with it. This is a YA book, by the way. And, but it gets better, so. She has this like Little Mermaid thing. Basically, her name's Kaylin, is the main character, and she was on this boat with her parents. I'm pretty sure her parents kind of just went overboard, like, on purpose. And in doing that, she also went overboard, but instead of doing it on purpose, it was not so much. And she was crying, trying to get saved, asking for help, and the ocean heard her and gave her a choice. She could become a siren and work for the ocean for 100 years, and then she can go off and do her own thing, or she can go with her parents into the light. And she of course chooses the siren for 100 years. She's done 80 of it. She has 20 years left when she meets this boy, a Kinley, and he just is so enthralled with her. However, she can only speak to him through sign language, because if she speaks, her voice is just so beautiful that it will cause him to want to go into the water. And so her and her like sisters, siren sisters, whatever, they do not speak in public. They try to find houses and apartment buildings, like very secluded with like good soundproof places, so that nobody can hear them talking, because they don't want to accidentally get somebody to go into the ocean. It's happened prior, like it's happened on accident. However, if like there's been people in the past, sirens in the past, who have done it on purpose for like a revenge. For instance, there was one girl whose like family was horrible to her, and so she sang for them, and they went into the ocean, and the ocean drowned her, because you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't seek revenge. So Kaylin and a Kinley, they fall in love, and it's such a cute story. Like honestly, them together is just so adorable. He tries so hard to be able to understand her and to talk to her and all of this stuff, and he's just doing his absolute best, and it's just such a beautiful demonstration of the power of love. You know, I know that sounds cheesy, but it really is. It's just like a great demonstration of that. So I just loved this book. I love YA books in general, but I really loved this book, and I thought it's a great like take on The Little Mermaid with like a little bit of a twist. I thought that was a wonderful, wonderful story. And so yeah, I do recommend this one. I gave this one 4 stars. I gave Finley Donovan 4 stars. I don't know if I said that, but both of these I give 4 stars. Then on audiobook, I also listened to The Way I Used to Be, and let me tell you, I was listening to this while doing more chores around the house, cleaning things up, dusting. You know, it's March, we're doing our spring cleaning, and I was listening to this while doing that. This was a quick read as well. On audiobook, it was 8 hours long, but I listened to 2x speed, so it was only 4 hours long. And let me tell you, at one point, I stopped doing what I was doing, and I was pacing back and forth in the room, choking on air, because I started to sob so hard. Like, I thought that I was gonna pass out listening to this, because it was so heartbreaking. Like, the whole story is heartbreaking, and I really truly wanted to give her such a big hug. I felt like everybody was missing the signs, and I did write a Goodreads review where basically I say, like, I recommend this book to YA kids, especially, like teenagers especially, because I feel like this is such a great book with a really good moral at the end, which is basically you've got to have someone in your life that you trust, 100% trust, whether it's an adult or a friend, somebody that you trust, and you can tell when something is deeply, deeply wrong. This book was just heartbreaking because she did not have that, or she didn't feel safe in order to have that, and I felt like there were so many red flags that she was giving, and no one seemed to notice, and it broke my heart because, I mean, as the reader, you know why she's doing these things. You completely understand it. But just seeing the way her friends reacted, how her mom and her dad treated her, how her brother spoke to her, it just was so heartbreaking because nobody really truly understood that she was lashing out for someone, anyone, to take notice and to ask her what happened. And I just wanted to give Eden the biggest hug in the entire world. I, of course, gave this book 4 stars. Again, I really do recommend this to especially teens, just so that, and also not just teens, but any parent who has a teenager, I really truly think you should read this book just so that you can have that in the back of your head, so that if your teenager does do a 180 in personality, you know to be looking for these signs so that you can sit down with them and just be very loving and ask them, hey, I think we should have a conversation. I think we need to talk about what's going on in your life. I need to know. As your parent, I need to know. I just felt like this book is almost like the best explanation, especially, I mean, if as a teenager, if you were a teenager and you read this book, I think it would be able to put into words what you were feeling. And so I just think this is a very powerful book, and I think it's a very important book. I think it's just a good conversation starter, you know? Maybe like if you think your teen is going through something, maybe recommend this and be like, hey, let's buddy read this. And then talk about the book and try and transition to seeing if your teen is struggling with that. I don't know, I'm not here to parent, just saying. This book really meant a lot to me in so many ways. This book was just so powerful, it meant a lot. Then, of course, I finally finished reading XOXO. This is such a great, adorable book. I gave this 4 stars. This is by Axio. And if you love K-pop, K-dramas, anything like that, this is like the book to read. I think she does such a fantastic job on the Korean culture, the Korean bullying, like all of that is just compact in here. This book made me so happy, and honestly, I just wanted to sit down. By the end of this week, I wanted to sit down and really read this because I was getting so deep into it and I was really loving the characters. I love Jenny, I love Jae-woo, I love Sori and Angela and Nathaniel and G-Tech. I just love all of them so much. They were just such great characters. They had such great chemistry. I love this like found family that she has with them. I do feel like we were left with a little bit of some holes in there. There were just a couple things in this book that I feel like I didn't get closure on, but other than that, I had such a great time reading this story. It really made me love reading again, and that's really what you're looking for when you're in a reading slump. You're looking for a book that's going to make you love reading again. And yeah, this book did it. So this was my first finished physical copy of a book this month. I absolutely loved it. If any of you go down there and say listening to audiobooks is not really reading, get out, because it absolutely is. And especially when you're like super busy and like you just can't really do much. For instance, I used to listen to audiobooks a lot when I commuted to work, especially when I lived in San Diego and my commute was an hour and a half. I would pop in an audiobook or maybe a podcast or something. I would just listen to that stuff because you're in the car for a very long time, so you can kind of get a lot of things in. I love audiobooks for that reason, but I also really love reading a good physical copy. It just hits different when you can see the words, you know? I love audiobooks, but I also love a physical copy. So I will say, I think I can confidently say I am no longer in a reading slump. I'm very excited to read now after I finish editing this video and getting it up. I am very excited. I did read 4 books and I'm happy about that. I'm very happy about that. I'm very excited about that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope that if you are in a reading slump, you try out these tricks and let me know if that helps you or if that works for you. If it doesn't, I think we're all different as readers and I think everything's going to work differently. If you have ever been in a reading slump and you know like what works best for you, definitely leave that down below because it might help, or it might help somebody else. So yeah, anyways, I can't even talk. I just want to go read, guys. I will talk to you guys later. Please go ahead and like and subscribe, do all of those YouTube things, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.